everyone. My name is Amy Andriano, and I work at Invoca. And my job is Product Experience Manager, which basically means that I collect and analyze data from our customers from all across the product, and then package that data and send it to the product team, customer success team, even our executive team, so they can kind of better understand the customer environment and where to take the product next. And so just a little bit about Invoca. Invoca tracks phone calls. And the reason that we do this is everyone here, I'm sure, has a cell phone and has done mobile searches on their phone. And what we're seeing in marketing is that as the marketing dollars are driving towards your cell phone and mobile marketing, you're making a lot more phone calls on your phone. And what we see here is there are plenty of marketing tools available for search, for click tracking, for email, we just saw from Pardot, and display, Facebook, but there was a hole in the market in that tracking that phone call that the customer made, that they made their conversion on, wasn't available through these tools. And so this is kind of the hole that Invoca is looking to fill. And so our software will plug in with your current marketing stack, your Adobe, Facebook, Google, and plug in that phone call information, so then you can see where your ads, which ads are driving phone calls and which ads are driving more conversions. And so we work with a lot of enterprise corporation, that's kind of our target market, and we also pair with several pioneering innovators in marketing as well. And so just a little bit about what we're going to go over today. I'm going to talk about our NPS program and how it's evolved over the last 2 years or so. We've had several iterations here and a few bumps in the road, and so I'm just going to kind of go through all 3 rounds and then give you a few key takeaways here. So just a little bit overview. How many of you have heard of NPS before? Is there anyone new to NPS at all? Perfect. So NPS is a question that you'll see when you're using a lot of online apps, and it will ask you how likely you're going to recommend a product to a friend or colleague. And anyone who checks between a 0 and a 6 is considered a detractor. 7 and 8 are passives, and 9 and 10 are promoters. And what you do is you'll take the percent of promoters minus the detractors, and that will be your NPS score. And that's generally understood to be kind of a satisfaction of your customers at the time. And so why NPS? So why did Invoca choose to use NPS over the many other tools that are out there to measure customer satisfaction? We were looking to establish a baseline for customer loyalty, and we really wanted to get things going and try to advocate for the customer across the company. We were looking to really also plug this into all the other data that we have to use it part of our toolkit to help predict churn, retention, and expansion, and identify areas for product improvement by partnering with the product team and giving them feedback that we're seeing from the NPS score to help drive our product into a customer-focused direction. So they asked us to do NPS, and we did it. It was great. We built a continuous NPS survey in the platform, and customers responded, and we collected data, and we did some follow-up, and it was great, except for a few things that weren't great. We had some data quality issues, and that means that maybe a few internal users saw the NPS pop, and maybe they all rated us a 10, and maybe it inflated our NPS score a little bit. And so that caused a lot of data quality issues. We didn't have any other data to help understand a more rounded view of our NPS score. And this includes understanding who was given the pop, if they responded or not, who received the survey, which customers were answering, and we didn't have any logic on how often the survey was given and how many times a single customer had seen the survey. So we went ahead and did our best with this data, and what we found wasn't that great. We had a significantly declined NPS score over the year. We had declining response rates, and the NPS score was all over the board. And we didn't have enough data to completely analyze our solution. And so we looked at this and saw a really big opportunity here to better build out this program and to drive company interest in the information that we're getting so we can use this to drive customers' interest into responding and understanding why we're collecting this information. So we needed a better solution. We wanted control of who saw the NPS survey. We wanted data on customers who responded or not. We wanted to ensure randomization for customer segments. We wanted to make sure that we were respecting the customer's time and not giving them the NPS survey multiple times a year, multiple times a month. And finally, we were looking for a very consistent feedback loop, something that was reliable, that the company understood and knew, and was looking for in order to know that we're following up with these customers and we're treating our customers with respect. So here's what we did. We had a company-wide initiative for our NPS goal. We decided that at this point in time, less is more. We wanted to survey our customers twice a year, once in June and once in December. And we did this so we could easily focus on our NPS process and make sure that everything was locked in and that the team understood what needed to be done. We had customer segmentation. This was a big, something that we didn't get the first time that we did it. We have many different customer segments, and we wanted to be able to make sure that we can parse that data out and understand if one segment was happier than maybe another segment. One of the biggest pieces that we implemented would be our NPS playbook. And that really included a script of how we were responding to customers and what we were telling them and asking them depending on what score that they gave. It also included a timeline of when the follow-up was going to be and how the different parts of the company were going to be interacting with this information. So follow-up for pretty much every division, the product team, the CSMs, the executive team was very involved in responding and talking to customers on their score and understanding the feedback. One of the biggest improvements that we made that really helped glue the whole thing together was using Pendo's Zapier integration and partnering Pendo with Slack. And this was huge because everyone in our company lives in Slack. And you can see there in real time when a customer across the country inputs an NPS score, in a very short amount of time, you're going to see that score in Slack. And it's a great way to keep the team involved and keep everyone apprised of what we're doing and making sure that this was kind of fresh in everyone's mind, that it wasn't going to be a project that was going to get, pushed to the side. So this is what we did. We built the NPS survey with Pendo. You can see it down here. And our product team was really happy because we were able to match it to the design of our product, so it looks almost native. But the most important part here is the segmentation. So you can see the first two things on the segmentation is excluding everyone from our company. So they will never see the NPS survey again. And additionally, we wanted to target specific customers. And one thing that we were adding new here at the bottom is having a customer not be given the NPS survey until they've logged in at least 90 days. So we wanted to get customers who were onboarded and finding value in the product and making sure that we're going to get the best data available. So with this new process, we got some really great results. This is a product driver chart that we'll make when we analyze all of our NPS data. And what we do here is we'll segment the NPS feedback into different categories depending on what the users were saying. And so you can see here, the bigger the bubble, the more feedback we got. And then we took the average of the NPS score for customers who had feedback in that specific vertical. And so this was really helpful for us and gave us a great place to focus for the second half of 2016. Pricing, level of effort, operational, innovation, all of this stuff we knew we needed to work on, and now we had the data to follow up with that. So continuous improvement. We were really happy with what we've done before, but I think as we've heard today, a lot of is just to keep on improving, keep iterating on everything that you're doing. And so now that we had an established process and understanding how much time that it takes to do the feedback, and the people who were doing the feedback and the follow-up knew what they were supposed to do. So we decided to go ahead and do a continuous deployment. We were really promoting customer engagement to encourage customers to participate in the NPS program. We did an analysis of our time to value. So we moved from 90 days to 120 days because we believe that after looking at the data and analyzing it with customers, that this was going to give us a little bit more data and that customers are going to be more used to using our software at this time. And then finally, optimizing the NPS playbook and going in there and making sure that everything was tight and the feedback loop that we had was working as it should. So round 3, and this is what we're currently using in our platform today. As I said previously, continuous deployment, optimizing the NPS playbook. You can kind of see our table of contents there on how we have it laid out and what the bullets are as well. We had decreased resources since our process was so tight that we knew that we could be able to take on this at a more continuous pace than instead of packing it into 1 month. Finally, proactive customer outreach. And again, this is letting our customer base know what we're doing with this data and encouraging them to please fill it out, that we're using it to try to make the experience better for them. So what were the results? So all the iteration rounds you can see here, and our NPS score has been going up steadily. We hope to see a big jump this year since we're making bigger product changes, especially around usability, which was one of the items that we found in NPS as well. So we're excited that we have a pretty solid baseline on where we are, and we're looking forward to the end of this year to see a pretty decent improvement there. So overall, what did we learn? Driven awareness of customers across the organization. And this was especially important with the Slack channel. So you will see our CEO is in there probably at least once a day commenting on the responses that customers are giving us on the NPS score, which is a really great driver for the whole company to see as well. And one very important thing is that NPS is now part of our company goals. So the whole company is now aligned to help increase NPS and use the customer feedback. The effective communication loop was very key for us to get the process in place. And so we have a few, 2 or 3 different people in the company who are now focused solely on follow-up and running the NPS program. So as before in our first iteration, there were some guidelines, but there wasn't one person to do it in a very repeatable manner. Documentation improvement across the board. So we've gone in and rejuvenated our knowledge base. We're now going to be using Pendo in-app to connect our knowledge base to the customers where they are, so they'll have access to those articles a lot easier than having to search in our knowledge base. We're making changes to the onboarding process, optimizing that to try to give customers a value in a much faster time. And then working with the product team to prioritize changes at regular intervals. So next steps, we're going to work on a trend line to be able to graph this for the whole year so we're able to see the changes. And we're also going to work in the margin of error to make sure that we understand how accurate that NPS data is at that time. We're going to try to also start a TNPS program, so doing transactional NPS based off of responses in our knowledge base, and driving for higher response rates. This is one of our biggest ones, and it is going to involve a lot of customer communication and working with the CS team and the sales team to explain what NPS is while we're onboarding customers. And then, the main goal of the whole project at the end of the day is to use NPS as a puzzle piece in predicting churn and renewal. So in summary, here are the 7 biggest points that we got out of doing all of this. Targeted customer segment. Why are you collecting NPS? As we saw the first time, just collecting it for fun didn't work very well. There has to be a reason why you're doing this and what are you going to do with the data. Creating a playbook and defining roles of people who are going to do and what they're going to do. The Slack channel is a huge, huge bonus. And then know the data that you're needed. Understand what information you need to have a well-rounded NPS program and well-rounded NPS score. And then finally, this is just another tool in your customer health toolkit. Fortunately, this is not the end-all, be-all of customer satisfaction and customer happiness, but it's definitely an excellent tool to use while trying to understand where to take your product and understanding current customer satisfaction overall.